Hello everyone, great to have your company on this Longines Hong Kong International Race Week special. We preview the most prestigious and important meeting for the year in Hong Kong. More than 25 international horses have arrived here and they will be vying for their share of more than 70 million Hong Kong dollars in prize money on offer in the 4 Group 1 races.
Well, Joe, it always promises to be a great day. We've had so many great memories in the past. No doubt we'll have some great memories again after the racing on Sunday. We've got lots of old faces here and plenty of new faces. But boy, the talent this year is top-notch with Lord Kanaloa for Japan in the sprint. The Fugue, I'm very much looking forward to watching her in action in the Vase.
Some new and exciting horses in the Hong Kong mix this year, Brett,
Absolutely.
But also some defending horses as well. Lord Kanaloa, as Darren's mentioned, and also Red Caddo.
That's right, Joe. Yeah, 2 defending champions here for the big program, and obviously Moonlight Cloud is a great draw card as well. Of course, who can forget the day that she nearly beat Black Caviar? She's gone on to bigger and better things there since then, so we're really looking forward to her. Overall, I think it's a fantastic day. It always is. The quality's there, both with the internationals and with the Hong Kong gallopers, and the weather's going to be fantastic as well. We've had great weather for the last week or so, and it looks like it will continue.
Hong Kong at this time of the year, Clint, really is a melting pot of the best international horses, riders and trainers.
Let's just hope that all the horses get to the track as well. Looks like that's going to be the case. We haven't had any late defections, touch wood, but yeah, it is. We've had glorious weather. We've got some superb horses all round. So let's just hope they all get their chances. I thought with the barrier draws, a few the cat was thrown in amongst the pigeons a little bit, but we can talk about that as the show goes on.
The first of the big 4 we're going to analyse is the Longines Hong Kong International Vase.
Been his only international Group 1 win, Red Caddo in Hong Kong, and of course owned in Hong Kong interest.
Quite amazing, isn't it, that he's only actually won one Group 1, but of course he's had multiple placings, of course including a second in the World Cup. The Fugue, obviously a very, very interesting runner. Nymphia, her last victory, she got 20 lengths in front at one stage, and then you've got the 3-year-olds Galileo Rock and Ibiza, who comes here very, very lightly raced.
So we have the 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th place getters from the recent Emirates Melbourne Cup during the Spring Carnival in Australia. How do you see the speed situation playing out here with these class stayers lining up?
Yeah, I don't think that, in the Vase, I don't think it's as much of an issue really in the race, but obviously, at the left of the screen at the top is the rail, the running rails you can see at the top of the screen there, and going forward I've got Nymphia, likes to race on the speed, along with Liberator, who will probably take a little bit of time to roll forward. I think the Fugue, who can race on speed, should get the 1 out, 1 back. I thought it'd just be an even sort of tempo, and here the prices are marked it to 100%, so just bear that in mind. I thought the Fugue might be a bit of a risk. 6-4 overseas. I got her 3-1 because I haven't seen her all week, and she's travelled 5 weeks. In 5 weeks, she's gone to California and back, and then out here. So she's travelled around the globe a lot.
So there's been great anticipation about the star filly, the Fugue, owned by Andrew Lloyd Webber. However, since arriving in Hong Kong, she's been a bit of a phantom at Trackwork.
Well, that she has, and that's a little bit of a concern. Where has she actually been? She's been very scarcely sighted, and we're getting into the final countdown now. But we just have to take it in good faith that she's been brought here fit and ready to go. She's certainly a class act.
Done all her lead-up work, or most important, lead-up preparation at home, it seems. Red Caddo, though, a big star defending his Vase title, did plenty of work during the week and really caught the eye, Clint.
Really nice work this from Red Cato, as you can see on screen. He's arrived in terrific fettle this week. And just talking about Red Cato and the international rating, let's look at the form pattern with Red Cato. Of course, there was a dip here, as you can see, came down to 99. That was midway through the year, but steadily has risen after that, peaking with 120, which is his career high in the Melbourne Cup performance. Obviously, really coming in terrific form all round, over 1.5 miles, which is being highlighted in that form profile. And he looks terrific at the moment, Red Cato. Dunedin, Michael de Zongle thought the horse this race this year was a bit tougher, but one thing about Dunedin, well travelled, looks in terrific order, and on the upside, I thought was moving really fluently. But the whole week, the one horse that's really particularly impressed me in morning track work here is Mount Athos, and I thought this was a terrific piece of work for Mount Athos. Zach Purton on board, and I know he was pleased with the gallop as well and surprised at how well he travelled. Mount Athos connections can be delighted. Next along, Simenon, and nothing wrong though. They did a fairly hefty piece of work this morning, basically 2 laps on the course proper. So plenty asked there of Simenon, but a very fit horse. Hart wouldn't have blown a candle out after the second lap. It was a sterling piece of work from a horse that probably has a little to find. Asuka Kurichan, another one that I think hasn't looked quite at his best at the moment, or at the best, it just to me looked a little dull in the coat. But moving on to the form pattern once again here of the Fugue. Now consistently you can see up here around the 115, 116 international rating, and then really bumped up for those last 3 performances. Now haven't seen much of the Fugue at track, but obviously if the Fugue, if she brings her A game, she will just be a very, very tough one to beat. And we haven't seen much of her on track, so there's not much we can do. But that's the way it has gone from Trackwork, with one more to go with a Vase. And I know that Alain de Roy Dupre very happy with the way that this young filly's arrived. She looks in good. She hasn't done a great deal on the track, but she looks a little dull in the coat. But all going well, I think, towards the big one there on the weekend.
Okay, so there's a look at the key contenders and their track work in the lead-up. Red Cato, to my eye, looks in fantastic order since his Melbourne Cup campaign. Age shall not worry him.
I have to say, I was at the King George meeting this year and saw him go around that day, and I thought he was gone, but he's certainly come back with a vengeance, and he seems to love a trip away. Gerard rode him perfectly to win the race last year. Liberator for Hong Kong, you have to say, ran a very decent race. Dunedin was a bit flat, and Dandino plodded on, but I think Dandino might be going a little bit better this time around, as we'll see in a Melbourne Cup replay.
Yeah, I agree, Darren. I think Dandino is going well. He, of course, ran particularly well in the Caulfield Cup and then went on to the Melbourne Cup. He actually got shuffled back a fair way in the Melbourne Cup. He was sort of midfield, and then there was a lot of pace in the race, and Mount Athos, for me, I thought probably put in the best performance of the runners in the Melbourne Cup, because he was initially sort of fairly handy, and then Craig Williams made a move at about the mile or the 2,000, used him up, and then they all got moving coming towards the turn, and I thought he battled on pretty well in the final stages, Mount Athos, because he had to use a little bit of petrol early on. So I think, like Clint said in the track work, he's worked well since he's got here, and I tend to favour him a little bit more. The barrier's a concern, I think, for Red Cato, drawn in 11.
Well, Zach Purton got on the horse's back during the week at Trackwork and was highly impressed by the feel he got from the horse. Let's now hear from his travelling foreman, Charlie Henson.
Yeah, it's great. I finally drawn a good barrier for once, but no, it's great. Perfect.
Looking at the horse, I mean, he obviously, to my eye anyway, looks like he's really thrived since he's arrived. Looks in great order. Are you happy with him?
Yeah, look, he thrived down in Australia before the Melbourne Cup, and he continued to do well from then on. And he's taken everything in and done really well since he's been here.
Tactically from gate 6 gives you some more options. Obviously Luke will be here and we'll be working that out, but you know, he's quite versatile. He showed in the Melbourne Cup he could go forward and obviously can go back as well, so it leaves you with some options.
Yeah, it does. We'll obviously talk with Craig and Mr. Kamani and come up with a plan, but he is pretty versatile, but he does, you know, he does need a bit of cover. So
if he runs to his best, is he good enough?
If the Fugue runs up to her best, obviously, I think everyone in the field's running for second. What I like is the fact his attitude at the moment, and he's in a great place mentally. His work last Saturday was excellent, and his leg stretch this morning was good, and Craig was very happy with him this morning. It's a very tough race, and the toughest that he's probably endured, but we go there with every chance.
Well, he's arrived well. It was the first time he arrived from Japan, but he looks still happy and fresh, and that's quite important.
Of course, he won the race 2 years ago, and then wasn't quite up to that standard last year, but this year seems to be arriving in really good form.
Yeah, he ran a great race in Japan. He looks very well, and it's a tough race this year. I think the level of the race is better than last year and the year before.
He looked a tired horse in the Melbourne Cup, but gee, he improved to run 5th in the Japan Cup.
Yeah, the form's a little bit topsy-turvy, trying to get a good form line. Some runs in Melbourne were good, some runs in Japan were a little bit disappointing, and with Dunedin, I'm going to let him go tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. It's interesting, you look at his 3 Group 1s, 2 of them in Australia and 1 here. So he obviously enjoys Australia, and then he generally goes from there to here, with Japan sometimes in between. So just that travelling maybe from different climates and so forth seems to spark him up a little bit. He's a stallion, he's probably looking for other things to do now, maybe not as focused, but he's certainly got the engine. I think he'll get the pace. Interesting
what Charlie Henson said in his interview about the Fugue, and he basically summed it up, I think, perfectly by saying that if she brings her A game to the course on Sunday, everyone else will be running for second, and based on this performance, have to agree.
Yeah, we've all heard the raps about her, so this is the video footage of one of her wins, being the Irish Champion Stakes over 2,000 metres, when she was able to pull right away. Her win prior to that at York, over 1.5 miles, was even more impressive, but of course she was beaten in the Breeders' Cup when chasing a tearaway leader at very big odds, and they ran along at a pretty strong pace. I think she looked the winner about 150 up before being swamped late there in the Breeders' Cup, but yes, she's clearly the one to beat.
Interesting what Clint said before about, you know, she's done a lot of travelling and we haven't seen a great deal about it, a great deal of her, but generally the fillies from the Northern Hemisphere, I've noticed over the past years, they do tend to spark up a little bit. They don't perhaps look as good as they possibly could because a lot of them get clipped and so forth, but you know, we haven't seen a lot of her, but as Darren said before, she's got the quality. You don't want to underestimate her.
It's a lot of trouble, though, isn't it?
It is a lot of trouble.
In 5 weeks, she's been to California, back to the UK, and then out here. I mean, in 5 weeks, she's gone around the world twice.
3 horses will fly the flag for Germany. Will the flag be flying high, though?
Well, we saw Feuerblitz go around in Hong Kong last year and wasn't quite up to it. And Seismos, I see in overseas markets, is around a 20-to-1 chance. I see on the Racing Post, when it did win the Group 1 in Germany, it was described as a weak Group 1 race.
That's a little concern, isn't it? But the way he's won here, very, very impressive. Feuerblitz actually went into this race first up and obviously didn't finish off as well as he could do. But since then, he's had a number of runs and he has found a little bit of form. But as you touched on, Darren, we've seen him before and he hasn't quite been up to it. So I actually probably prefer Seismos ahead of him.
Okay. A progressive sort of stayer at Galileo Rock, and the same could be said for the filly Ibiza.
Yeah, they're both very interesting runs. Galileo Rock 3rd in the English Derby this year and wasn't too far away. And then with Ibiza, well, I think she's only won the 1 race, and it was actually on protest. There was a bit of interference about a furlong out. So they're very interesting. They get a bit of weight leverage as well.
Yeah, Galileo Rock, I just wonder whether or not he's seasoned enough to be taking on a race of this depth. He's drawn 13, that's a little tough. And Ibiza, is she as good as Dariakana? We don't know. Dariakana was a real superstar on the day when she won. I'm going to side against her.
And the Hong Kong trained pair are dominant, one of the best stayers here. And also Liberator seems to be coming along quite nicely this campaign.
Yeah, we saw the clip before of Liberator running a decent 4th, and he set a pretty strong pace in the Cup trial. I think the best they'd be looking at realistically might be 4th position again, but Dominant could be interesting. I mean, the trip's certainly right for him.
Yeah, I think if Dominant shows his best, he's probably the pick of the 2. Liberator's gone well his last start, but is he a genuine Group 1 horse at set weights? Probably not.
Well, most consider the Fugue to be near unbeatable. Do you agree?
I think she's very hard to beat. I will be going with her, but I do like Dandino and Mount Athos as well. But the Fugue on reputation I do have on top.
I'm really happy with the run of Mount Athos in the Cup and the fact that he's arrived well, he's mentally well. The Fugue's got the little question marks, all the travel and not much work. So 5 to beat 11 for me. And I think Dunedin showed in the Japan Cup he's back, he'll get pace.
Similar numbers for me, Brad. I thought just the cloud with the Fugue and a lot of travel. I thought, you know, the trip to the States and back again, enough to demote her into second, and she's going to be short enough. I think Mount Athos looks terrific and has drawn a gate, will get the right run. So 5 to beat 11. Luca Kamani'd certainly be happy to win one of these, and then Ibiza for 3rd. I don't think he can ride off Orlando Roya de Prade in any of these big races here. He often knows what it takes to bring a good one.
Well, you have mentioned that she's had a similar prep
Yes.
as to what Darren did. So she's one of the very interesting runners in the race, I think.
That's our look at the Vase. We'll be back after this break to dissect the Hong Kong sprint.